Hey, Husker fans, welcome back to the Husker Big Red YouTube channel. I'm Chris Peterson, and joining me as always is Danny Gillette. We're back here for another quick video. We're going to talk about the big junior day recruiting weekend coming up for Nebraska
Mhm.
football. So we'll break that down. Before we get to that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get into the comment section. But Danny, a bunch of 2026 recruits coming on campus this weekend for Nebraska. We talked about it a little bit in one of our other shows on Thursday about Matt Rule kind of being all over the place, with his recruiting and all that type of stuff. A lot of guys coming in this weekend for visits. According to On3, there's 8 in the 2026 class. There's usually more than that, but one name that sticks out to me, Jordan Campbell, Miami commitment, ranked 77th overall. He'll be on the trip. A bunch of offensive tackles. What are your impressions about this junior day and this kind of recruiting weekend for Nebraska?
Honestly, I don't really put a ton of stock into junior days usually, but you got a guy like Jordan Campbell coming. You got a guy, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. Maybe you can help me, but Claude Mapumba.
Mapua,
Um,
yeah, Mapua. I think you're close there.
Hopefully we get to know how to pronounce his name on the Nebraska pronunciation guide in the near future. But so there's a bunch of talented players coming. I know there's that tight end that Marcus Satterfield came to visit. He is coming for the junior day as well, and so I think this could be a real chance for Nebraska to make some headway on this junior day, and I think that. It's a chance to just reaffirm their interest in some of these guys because, they've done a lot of the groundwork in recruiting already. And, the tight end that I was thinking of is Lincoln Watkins. They made an in-home visit for Watkins last week. So they're doing their due diligence at several positions. Campbell's a guy that definitely intrigues me because Nebraska's done a little bit better in the state of Florida. I think Philip Simpson is a big reason why. And so, I feel like this junior day, while there may not be a commitment, it's a good chance for Nebraska to really kind of, you know, kind of, plant their flag in the recruitment of some of these really talented prospects.
Yeah, and it's interesting. They're bringing in numerous offensive tackles on this trip, and I do
Yeah.
have to say it seems like they faded a little bit in the recruitment of Jackson Cantwell. Seems
Yeah.
like Ohio State and Michigan have come to the forefront more there. So,
Yeah.
but Kelvin Obat, one of the
Yep.
top offensive tackles, going to be visiting. You also mentioned Claude Mpua, if that's how you pronounce his name, from Chicago. Also, a guy from Arizona to keep an eye on that they just visited. Matt Rule and some other coaches, Rex Waterman. I think it was Donovan Raiola and Matt Rule paid him a visit in Chandler, Arizona. He's 6'5", 295. They've got in a little ahead of some other teams, but like Michigan, Notre Dame, USC, they've all kind of been in contact, keeping him warm. He's visiting this weekend, so that could be one where Nebraska could plant their flag in early and get a head start on a guy that's probably going to be higher ranked down the road. Jace Reynolds, who's the top player in the state of
Yep.
Nebraska, or one of the top players for the 2026 class, is going to be visiting. Also, Dayton Raiola, you mentioned that. I think that's big to get him on campus. Just to having that quarterback and that kind of recruiter in your class is always a big thing. Um, you know, I want to say Isaac Jensen is the in-state tight end too. I'm not sure if he's visiting this weekend, but that's another kind of name to know for Nebraska on the recruiting trail. The kid from Millard South, and yeah, so
He's
I
a good
think
player. Yeah.
I think that I did hear he might be visiting this weekend. Like I
I thought I heard the
sometimes these
same. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes we're kind of going off the On3 database, and they're not always fully updated. So he could still be visiting as well. And then I wonder if there might be some 2027 guys visiting too. Let's check on that here really quick. But overall, I like what Nebraska's doing. I think they do need to start getting a little bit more aggressive in the 2026 class. They're a little bit low in terms of um, commitments, but part of that is just I think they've spent so much time on the transfer portal. But two other guys to know from 2027 that are visiting this weekend. One of my favorites, Matt Erickson, out of Millard West in Omaha. He's not ranked right now, but he's going to be one of the top players in the state of Nebraska in the 2027 class. So I think that's a really good thing to get him on campus. And then Noah Roberts, a running back from Basha.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
Yep.
Arizona, Chandler, Arizona. He rushed for over, I think, 1,100 yards last season as a sophomore. This is a guy who's got offers from Arizona State, Arizona, Colorado State, Iowa State. Nebraska's the projected leader right now, but Michigan and Ohio State have offered too. So like this is a guy with pretty big time offer. I mean, if you've already got offers from Nebraska, Michigan, and Ohio State as a the 2027 class, like you're a pretty talented player. So that's another guy to know this weekend.
1,067 yards for Roberts and 19 touchdowns last season. So he's a dynamic player. He's one of the top running backs in the West region. And Nebraska, like we've talked about on previous shows and videos, they need to continue to add depth to the running back position. I mean, we saw what losing a guy like Kawan Lacey could do in the recruiting process. So, I think Nebraska's done a good job of trying to lock down running back since then, and they've kind of learned from that. But overall, a big junior day. I'll be very curious to see where some of these guys fall. I kind of do like the idea of Campbell coming. Linebacker, I believe they went to visit him last week, so they're definitely making a push for him. And I think in that regard, the addition of Philip Simpson once again to the coaching staff cannot be understated.
No, he's been a huge asset, and I think Philip Simpson and Jamar Mosey, I think, are going to be massive assets for Nebraska on the recruiting trail. Another guy that reported a visit on social media from the 2026 class, defensive tackle Valdin Sone,
Yep.
is set to visit 6'5", 290 pounds. He's a 4-star for 24/7 Sports, an industry 4-star recruit. So that's another guy that's going to be visiting. And then just another note, not on this visit weekend, but Nebraska did offer Brody Jennings on Wednesday, I believe. He's committed to Michigan right now. So that I thought that was an interesting offer, and it'll be interesting to see, if they're able to get him on campus, maybe at some point during this spring kind of period. And if they are, then maybe there'll be a chance for a flip there. But I always find it interesting when Nebraska's, offering other committed players, and that was a new offer that came down this week. So they must have some, positive feeling that they can create some movement there with Brody Jennings.
It's definitely encouraging that they're recruiting heavily for future classes, because you also know that they're going to probably dip a lot into the transfer portal, especially if this season goes well. This was the first year that we saw Nebraska really kind of dip their toes into the transfer portal heavily. And if they have success this year, there's no reason to stop that strategy again next year. So to get a mix of quality high school players as well as a solid transfer class is a recipe for success.
All right, you guys. Well, we just wanted to preview this recruiting weekend. Like we said, we're going to be putting out some more quick hitter videos like this. We'll have our full podcast on Monday where we're going to break down, Nebraska basketball, this recruiting weekend, and everything else that's happened. So check that out. But also make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know what you think about this recruiting weekend. And as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.